Some battles don't leave bruises, they leave silence. And that silence is where so many people disappear. They show up in public with a smile while quietly fighting to get through another night. I'm fine becomes the default, not because it's true, but because putting pain into words can feel impossible. So the world keeps seeing the version of them that appears steady, capable, unaffected, never realizing how much pressure is being carried behind the expression they learned to wear so well. And the scary part, you would never know. Because some of the most broken people become the best performers. The people most others admire for their positivity are often surviving realities nobody around them can see. They learn how to become a source of comfort for everyone nearby, reliable, present, emotionally available. Over time, that role becomes so familiar that their own pain slips into the background unnoticed, until they begin wondering what it would feel like to receive the same care they so freely give away. That's why Mental Health Awareness Month carries so much importance. Because too many people have spent years being misunderstood instead of supported. Pain that cannot be physically seen is still capable of changing someone's entire world. And dismissing emotional suffering does not make it disappear. It only teaches people to hide it more carefully. Depression affects real people every single day. So do anxiety, trauma, panic attacks, emotional burnout, and the invisible exhaustion that comes from carrying too much for too long. These struggles may not always be visible from the outside, but their impact is deeply real for the people living through them. And there are people all around them, carrying these battles in complete silence because the world taught them that vulnerability makes them a burden. Let me make something very clear. Your pain does not make you difficult to love. The fact that you carry emotion so intensely is not something you should be ashamed of. And struggling after enduring more than you were ever meant to carry does not mean there is something wrong with you. People don't need judgment or solutions. Instead, they need understanding and presence. Someone willing to sit beside them in the dark instead of constantly demanding they hurry back into the light. That is one of the biggest reasons the voice within exists. It came from experience, by surviving moments that permanently change a person. There were seasons of my life where grief sat so heavily on my chest, it felt difficult to breathe normally. Moments where I can look at my own reflection and feel disconnected from the person staring back at me. Times where I could still function, show up, and speak to people, while privately unraveling in ways nobody around me could fully see. Somehow, I made it through those chapters. Not perfectly or gracefully, but honestly. That is why these conversations matter to me so deeply. Because I know what it means to need someone to speak about these struggles openly instead of treating them like something people to hide from. I fight wars that sit inside my own mind, while the world keeps moving like nothing happened. I've experienced the kind of loss that changes the atmosphere around your entire life. The kind that follows you into quiet rooms, sits beside you in silence, and reshapes the way you move through the world afterward. I've gone through periods where exhaustion became more than physical, where even recognizing myself emotionally felt harder than it ever should have. And I've stood in front of people, appearing composed on the outside, while internally fighting battles I didn't yet know how to speak about openly. So when I speak about these things, it is coming from a real place. But I know what it feels like to survive and coexist with it. That's why I speak the way I do, refusing to water these conversations down, because people are dying from silence. People are losing themselves because they think nobody would understand their pain. Meanwhile, there are millions of people walking this earth feeling the exact same way. Think about it. How many people are sitting in their rooms tonight convincing themselves they're alone, while thousands of others are crying under the same moon, carrying the same thoughts? That is why the way we treat one another carries so much weight. A small moment of understanding can reach further than people realize. Even something as simple as genuinely asking someone how they're doing can make a difference in ways you may never fully see. You never know what someone had to overcome just to make it through the day. Some people are surviving battles you can't see, that don't show up on X-ray, or they are hidden behind the makeup. Sometimes it hides beneath sarcasm and quick laughter. Other times it disguises itself as constant busyness, overworking, or the inability to slow down. And often, what people dismiss as just being tired is actually someone running on emotional exhaustion for far too long. And sometimes, the strongest thing a human being can do, simply continue. That's why I need people to understand this. Healing does not always look beautiful. Healing is not always clean or graceful. For some people, it means sitting alone for a while, trying to steady emotions before walking into work like everything is normal, while others try recognizing that their mind has reached its limit and stepping away long enough to recover instead of forcing themselves to keep performing. Sometimes progress begins with finally being honest about needing support. And there are moments where victory is not measured in huge breakthroughs at all, but simply making it through the next hour without giving up on yourself. There's courage in that. Real courage. Not the fake social media version where everybody pretends they have life figured out. I'm talking about real courage. The kind where someone wakes up in pain and chooses to stay. The kind where someone battles thoughts they never asked for and still keeps trying. Or when someone feels emotionally shattered but refuses to let darkness have the final word. That person deserves support, not shame. And if you are someone listening to this right now, someone silently fighting, hear me carefully. You are worthy of love exactly as you are. Not only when you appear strong, composed, or put together. Struggling in silence does not make pain more honorable, and carrying everything alone should never be the requirement for being seen as resilient. Reaching for support is not failure. It is a human response to being overwhelmed. And no matter what your mind may try to convince you of during difficult moments, there are still people in this world who care about your existence, that would listen without judgment, and who truly want you to stay. And for those who are not personally struggling, I need you to become more aware of how you treat people. The way we speak to people leaves an impact long after the conversation ends. A harsh response can stay with someone for days, but so can gentleness, understanding, and being treated with care during a moment that were bravely holding themselves together. There are situations where a single conversation changes the direction of someone's entire night. A little compassion can reach places inside a person that logic and advice never could. And the truth is, you may never see the full effect your kindness had on somebody else. But that does not make it insignificant. The smallest moments of humanity often become the moments people remember the longest. Sometimes support arrives through the simplest gestures. A message asking how someone is really doing. The simple act of physical comfort when words are difficult to find. Reassurances that they do not have to carry everything by themselves. Even choosing to truly listen. Instead of brushing someone aside or minimizing what they feel, can mean more than people realize during a difficult moment. Mental health awareness is not just about posting quotes once a year. It's about creating environments where people feel safe enough to tell the truth. And truthfully, the world needs more of that. What we need is a shift towards openness, spaces where people speak truthfully about what they're going through without feeling like they have to soften it or hide it. An environment shaped by understanding, where people are met with care instead of judgment and treated like human beings instead of problems to fix or dismiss. Because when authenticity is welcomed, there is no need to put on a mask just to be accepted. Because behind every person, there is a story you know nothing about. And sometimes, all someone needs is one reason to keep going. And if you can be that reason for somebody, be it. If you're the one struggling, please stay. Do not give up on yourself during a chapter that is still unfolding. There is still healing ahead of you. Even if you cannot fully imagine it from where you're standing right now, give yourself the time to experience what healing can grow into. Even if it feels distant right now, allow space to reconnect with your own value, especially on the days that feel hardest to recognize. And remember, what you're living through is a chapter, not the conclusion. Because this world still needs your voice. And maybe that's why this platform was created in the first place. The voice within. Not to speak over people, but to remind them that even in their darkest moments, their voice still matters too. If you're struggling right now, please know there are people ready to listen and help. You do not have to carry everything alone. Mental health support and resources are as follows. 988 Suicide and Crisis Lifeline. Call or text 988 and it's available 24 hours, 7 days a week. For emotional distress, suicidal thoughts, anxiety, panic, overwhelming moments, and crisis support. Their website is 988lifeline.org. The crisis text line, text HOME to 741-741, and it'll connect you with a trained crisis counselor anytime, day or night. Their website is crisistextline.org. Now I want to leave you with a final message. Asking for help is not weakness. Needing support does not make you a burden. And surviving difficult moments does not make you broken. You are human. And you deserve support, care, understanding, and the chance to heal.